The Gallagher Shots podcast is sponsored by Tyre Spot, the North East's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode.
Welcome back to the Gallagher Shots YouTube channel for your match preview, and this time we're turning our attention to our game against Brighton and Hove Albion away this time, a 3 o'clock kickoff on the Saturday. Oh God, it's going to be an interesting one. Normally a bogey side for us, but we'll see how we get on. As you can hear and see, I am back. I am your host, Joe, and joining me today are Dean and Daryl. Lads, thanks so much for joining me on this one.
No bother, mate.
Shall we get straight into it? Because the international break is taking up enough of our time. Let's get right into the proper football. Well, speaking of the international break, I think we should start with the current state of play of the squad. Hall, Tino and Visser all still out. We were hoping that Visser would be sort of seen at this point back in black and white, but unfortunately he's had a bit of a setback. However, on the plus side, Jacob Ramsey looks like he's back now, and hopefully will at least make the bench for this game, which is a massive plus for us. We've been a little bit tight in that area, I would say. We've had the main three lads there working well, and Miley's come in a few times when we've needed him, but realistically, I think Jacob Ramsey's something that we've really desperately missed, so it's good to see him back. And not only that, we've had Gordon, who has been on form for England, got a goal midweek and is looking quite sharp. So overall, lads, it's not looking too bad, is it, for a trip all the way down to the south coast?
It's not at all. No, it's not. But you know, Newcastle, though, you just never know, do you? You roll the dice down there. I mean, our last 5 games there haven't been pretty, mind. I will say that. We've won 0, drawn 2 and lost 3. So we could be, I don't know, lads, maybe it's a turning point for us, but I don't know. I'm sensing a 0-0 draw. You know, I don't know what it is. I know. I don't want to jump to the end already, but I don't know. Brighton's a bogey team for us to have been for years.
I mean, the last time we won there was that amazing goal, best goal in the history of the world of football. So, you know, it's a long time. And
wasn't Dion, mate?
It was. Dion,
yeah. No. It was. That was the last time we won. Like Ben said, we've got no wins in the Premier League era there. So since we've both been back in the Premier League,
it's horrendous.
We haven't won down there. It's been terrible.
I was going to say that I remember Wilson having that gorgeous overhead kick, but I think that not finished 1-1 or something. So like it was a Brighton, wasn't it? Because it was when we wore that fourth kit.
The overhead kick was at Palace.
Palace.
Aye. Mm-hmm. But he did score one overhead kick, but it was disallowed. So we should have won that game.
That was what it was. That was what it was. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, Dean, you said about a 0-0 and potentially just getting down there, getting a draw. But Daryl, we're at this point already in the season where we can't settle for another 0-0 draw, another 1-1 draw. So nearly games, you know, could we have done this on a different day if we had this player, that player? Is it time that we really need to start turning these performances and turning them into wins in terms of results?
I mean, yeah, you only have to look at the momentum that we had going right before the international break when we got those 2 massive wins just before the break there against Union, and then the big win against Forest on the Sunday afternoon. It's, you know, you've got to hope that we can carry on that momentum coming into this next part of the season, because if you look at that part of the Premier League table, the way it's currently sitting in, it's really tight. There's like 2 or 3 points separating 8 or 9 teams now. And we are now in that point of the season where we really need to be starting to look at winning games and picking up 3 points rather than settling for ones in terms of draws. And I think, you know, a lot of the lads who've been away on international have had some good games out there. So hopefully they can bring themselves back into the team. And when the squad meet up, probably tomorrow as we record, which will be Thursday. You know, you'll see a nice, good couple of days training ahead of the game on Saturday.
Yep. So in terms of like how we're playing, it's difficult because I think the main focus for us is in terms of what we still haven't quite pinned down are the wingers.
Yeah.
Obviously, Gordon's had his red card. He was out the squad. Barnes came in. He's not really taking his chance. Alanga's been in and out the team. Not really. He's done a lot He's done a lot of things that have been quite good. But then he's not had a lot of end product to show for it, whereas Murphy, not as flashy, but he's been a tried and tested player, and he's obviously been putting them on a sixpence for Voltemada, who is famously not very good with his head, but that's all he seems to score with nowadays, including with Germany, who got his first senior goal for them. So well done, Big Nick. Question is, who do you start? Who's going to be the two that is going to supply Big V, who's going to be the ones that is going to chip in with the goals?
Yeah.
Dean, what do you think, mate? What do you?
Well, I think for me, with the form Gordon's on, you can't drop Gordon now. I mean, let's be honest, he's on a very big high at the minute, especially with England and stuff like that. Keep him in the squad, and let's be honest, he's more electric than Barnes is at the moment. So I would still start Gordon, and then after that, it has to be Murphy. I think for me, Murphy has got the best cross. The balls he puts in the box are ideal for Big V. You know what I mean? You have to get them in the box. I have to play him. You have to play him. I think don't get me wrong, I think Alanga's chance time will come, but at the minute, I think it's going to be a case of we're going to sit back, then counter, then throw balls in the box for Bug Nick. Because like I say, Murphy has to start for me because his crossing ability is amazing. I mean, you've seen the season, some of the chances he's made. I mean, even the Barcelona game for the Gordon goal, the pass was brilliant. You know what I mean? So it has to be Murphy for me. Like, has to be Murphy.
The one thing I would say, just to come in, sorry, Joe.
That's ours. Go on.
To counter what Dean's just said there is, having watched Murphy in the Forest game when he came on, I think after about a quarter of an hour, 10 or 15 minutes into his appearance off the bench, he started to limp, and he's nursing that Achilles so much at the minute because it's known that he's got a problem there. And the Alanga thing, I think for his pace alone, listening to a couple of bits about Brighton this afternoon, they're woefully short of pace at the back, and that's an area that we need to be targeting. So I would certainly agree with having Gordon on the left, but sheer pace alone, I think I'd be starting Langer on the right.
Right. But maybe though, Minter tracks back though. Minter's got pace and he tracks back, and he's dodgy for us. You know, he's the devil, Minter. Tell you.
Well, and these ex-players come back to bite us on the arse, right?
Well,
I mean, it's a good point. It's a good point because you've got the likes of Lewis Dunk, you've got Van Heck at the back, who are big lads, strong lads. Van Heck scored a goal recently against Wolves, so they've clearly got danger in the air. But you know, as I said before, we've got Big V, who is just been absolutely smashing them in, and I think you're right, Dean. I think we need a bit more of a direct state of play going in against Brighton, who. I mean, let's be honest. They're not going to do a low block, are they? They're going to be trying to go for us. You know, we'll go on to Brighton in a little bit, but they do have fast players, and they're not going to be the likes of, say, Wolves, who are just going to sit back and probably try and defend what they've got. So it's going to be interesting. But I agree with you. I do think Murphy's probably the best shout. And another thing that we need to consider is the fact that we've got yet another Champions League game next week as well, midweek. So what do you do there? Because if I remember rightly, he started Alanga against Barca, and he started him against USG, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
So if I say he's anything, it's like he's probably thinking the pace of the Champions League, Alanga might be that player that's best suited for it, whereas Murphy can come in and, like I say, be a bit more direct against these stubborn, big Premier League defences. Going to our centre backs in the back four. Now, as I said earlier, we've got Hall and Tino still out, which is a massive shame. But having said that, in their absence, Dan Burn, famously the best left back in the world, has went back to his favoured position and has been doing pretty well. You've got Trippier, who looks as good as ever. You know, stalwart in there, never lets us down really. Besides that one tiny blip, but that you had a couple of years ago. And then, obviously, you've got Malik Chow and Botman, who have just been absolutely fantastic, phenomenal. Keeping Fabian Schär out and Jamal Lascelles, shockingly. But Do we keep them in there? I mean, it feels like needs must at the moment. I know Cher's back from his concussion now, but can you see any way of him getting back in?
Nah, you can't drop Malik Chow. No way. Malik Chow, honestly, he's phenomenal. I've never seen. He's so comfortable on the ball. It's ridiculous. And I think for me, you see how good he is as a player. Like he's rock solid. And I think, finish though, like you say, going to that Champions League game on, is it a Tuesday night we're playing Benfica? Well, he might go, Fabian. You get the nod. Malik, you're playing Tuesday night instead. This is the problem. It's all about rotations, so you just don't know who he's going to play. But for me, I'd do an unchanged back four. But with the games coming up, though, Eddie Howe might throw a spanner in the works and play like Alex Murphy on the left back and Shea in the cells and centre back. You know what I mean? You don't know.
I think they'd be absolutely right if that happened, to be honest with you.
Oh, God,
that would be experimental. I don't even think he'd do that against the likes of Bradford in the Cup. Christ.
You never know. He might play Barnes left back. You never know. See, Barnes, you play left back. See what you can do there. See if you've got any good there, mate, defending.
Imagine.
Imagine. But yeah, I mean, Daryl, do you think? I mean, that pretty much plays. I think the team almost picks itself in the way that they've started, and I will say that injuries have kind of forced our hand a little bit in that we're still learning to play with Voltemada and these, and obviously the partnership of Chow and Botman. So whilst it's not a case of where against the walls, 10, 11 injured players, I do think that the way that whilst we're forming a long-term style of play, this is a good way of almost being a stopgap, isn't it? It's working so far. So if it's not broken, don't change it.
Absolutely. And, Dean mentioned there about that partnership that we've got in central defence. I mean, we would have all agreed that was a partnership for the future. Well, turns out it's a partnership for the now. They've been absolutely fantastic as a partnership together. I agree that I would go with an unchanged back four, unchanged keeper. I think the only contention with the whole 11 is probably that right wing slot. We've already had that discussion. I think the midfield picks itself, and it's just we've born out of circumstance a very solid and very profitable starting 11 at the minute. It's working, and we're seeing a lot of really good things. I mean, I still remember when Malik Chow made his debut, and the first thing he did when he came on was slice a ball, and he's gone absolutely head over heels and spirited away with everything since then, and he's turned into this world beater, and I'm all for it, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Right. I want to get on to Brighton, but before I do, the last thing I want to talk about is Jacob Ramsey in a bit more detail, because whilst he's had a very limited time on the pitch for us, I really like the look of him. And Joe Linton has, for all he can be fantastic and a proper tank for us, he has had some criticism recently for his play on the ball, his lack of passing. Maybe he's taken one too many touches. He's slowing the play down, perhaps, is a fair thing to say when you've got Bruno and Tonali next to him, or who seem to be absolute traction engines, just, lightning fast in terms of their decision making and whatnot. Do you think that should Ramsey, I know this is a bit of a wider topic to discuss outside of pure Brighton, but I'm just thinking, because he's coming back, do you think there's a chance that Ramsey could displace Joe Linton in that midfield three at some point? Not on Saturday, but in the coming weeks.
100%. That's what he was signed for. He was signed for that, because I think you look at us, right? Willock was ideally the replacement for Joe Linton. You know what I mean? Because you also swapped them two with the midfield. But now Willock's not really at the level he used to be. Ramsey is now that player, because when Ramsey gets the ball, he drives. And he's very good at driving, you know what I mean? We saw glimpses of it, you know what I mean? He is a very good player. I mean, when he played for Villa, he was phenomenal. So I think for me, he is going to be the replacement. I think you see that now in the squad. The signs this summer we've seen who are replacing who in the squad. That makes sense. You know what I mean? So you sort of see that integration now.
Yeah, 100%. And it's good that we've got these players. I mean, it's not a case of Ramsey will come in and Joe Linton will just never see any minutes again.
No.
But like what we're seeing with Alanga and Murphy now, it's a bit of a needs-must kind of situation. Depending on who we're playing, we're finally getting some options coming off the bench. And it doesn't mean that players are coming in just because someone's injured. It means that it's doing it. It's tactically. It's a tactical for reason. And that's something that we've really never really had under Howe, because even whilst we've went season on season and done very well, he's usually relied on a core 12, 13 players for the most part. So, we'll see. But that is something that we need to keep an eye on over the next few weeks, especially with the amount of games that we have coming up.
Yep.
Brighton. I want to talk about them in a bit more detail. So, they've started the season bang average. I mean, I would say they've won 2,
Yep.
Drawn 3, lost 2. I will say that puts them on exactly the same amount of points and whatnot as us in the table. So take with that what you will. Appreciate that we've seen from the eye test how we've performed. We could argue that we should be higher up, but it is what it is. They've scored 10 and conceded 10. So again, they're doing pretty good up front, but then they're leaky at the back. However, I will say that the wins that they have had, they've come against City and Chelsea. Although Chelsea got a red card, I believe, and they also drew with Spurs, and they really should have won that game if it wasn't for an unlucky own goal. Yep. Now, in terms of their players who they've got injured, so Matoma did have a slight injury in their last game before the international break, but it's looking like he's probably going to be back for this, at least on the bench. They've got a really good, they've got a quite exciting young midfielder, Gruder, German lad, I believe, but he's been injured whilst he's been away, and it doesn't look like he's going to make this. So good news for us, at least. But they've got the likes of, as we've already discussed, Yakuba Mente, our previous player. They've got Welbeck, who, even though he's about 55, he's still banging them in. And let's be honest with you, if he's going to score against anyone, he loves to score against us. It feels almost inevitable. Brighton's play, I mean, like I say, they love their wingers. They've got pacey wingers, and they've got usually quite a solid midfield that gets them going in the counter-attack. So, Daryl, I mean, what have you made of them so far this season? Like, do you think that they are someone to be really concerned about? We've spoken about them being a bogey team in the past.
Yeah, I think, they have a particular style, and it's quite easy to identify it. And it's a very progressive style. They like to have a lot of the ball, and they like to try and overwhelm their opposition when they can. The one thing I would probably say that's been a problem for them this season is that they're missing João Pedro. Now, he disappeared and went off to Chelsea for all that big money when he could have come to us, but that's another story.
Not bitter at all.
Yeah. Yeah, they seem to be missing him. They never really replaced him. But then again, when you've got experienced old hat Danny Welbeck sitting there who can bang the odd goal in when he's fed properly, which he will be in that team because it's a very process-driven attacking team that it is when they go forward. And he's a natural poacher. He always has been. He'll find himself in that space and he'll be able to put a goal away, which is a massive danger for us. But they're very much the team that they have been for the last couple of years now. And it all started with Potter, and it went through De Zerbi. They stayed the same pretty much. And the way that Tony Bloom has them, it's all data-driven processes. So they're all, whatever changes they make, still fit the core principles that the team generates and displays when it's on the pitch. So it's a team that we're quite used to seeing now, and it has been, like I say, for a while. So that'll still be the same, and they'll still pose the same threats. We've mentioned their Minte pace and finishing, and Matoma can be a right little. I was going to swear there, but I'm not going to. He can be a right little toe rag on the wing.
This is a family show, Dasmo.
It is. He's a trickster. So they do pose a lot of threats in that front line, and the midfield can progress and turn over the ball quite quickly, and they're quite good there. But again, so are we. We're just as good as that. It's proven so far this season that we're just as good. Yep. And to be honest, when it comes to the end of the season, we'll probably prove that we're better again.
Yeah, Dean, agree?
I mean, I do. I think for me, though, it's Welbeck's. See, ever since the FA Cup game, right, there's been something that's niggling in the back of my head, and I think it's because he walked off the pitch and he was giving it the big one, saying, what you say again? They hate us because I'm a Mackham. No, we hate you because you scored a goal past us. Nothing to do because you're a Mackham. Just hate you in general, mate. And I think for me, what's really getting me at the minute is I can see him scoring. And it's annoying us because I know he can do it. Danny Welbeck, for some reason, since he went to Brighton, has become a world beater. It's insane. You know what I mean?
He suits that system. That's what it is. He suits that system.
You're right, Dasmo. You're right. Absolutely spot on, mate. But for me, I think with our centre backs now, I think we might be sound. Like I say, Malik is absolutely. He's rapid. You get the ball. He's like a Rolls Royce defender. So hopefully. And fingers crossed, Welbeck gets not a sniff all game. Because also as well, I didn't realise Evan Ferguson left again. He's ended up a Roma.
It's crazy, isn't it?
So they've only got one striker.
I'm pretty sure he's not on the books.
They've only got one striker. I'm sure they're like one out striker at the minute. So it'd be interesting to see how they actually, if he gets injured halfway through the game, what they're going to do.
So against Spurs, I had a lad called Rutter up front.
He's at number 9. He's been out alone quite a bit. I'm sure he has because I'm sure he played for Leeds for a bit.
Yeah, he did.
He's there. So
they've got Rutter Welbeck. Listen, we're sound, lads. I thought Evan Ferguson. If Evan Ferguson was there, we'd be knackered. He'd score a hat-trick pass. We're sound.
We did. I was there.
I mean, even James Milner.
Horrible
James Milner's still getting off the bench for them. I've just checked. He came on against Spurs. I mean, fair play to him. Like he's done well.
Great player.
Remember when he was a youngster playing for us there? How time flies.
20-odd years ago. Jesus.
Him, Minter, Welbeck all score pass with 3-0 Brighton there again. It's going to happen. James Milner, Minter, Welbeck, all at once.
Horrendous. You know, the amount of people that's probably going to take you seriously and going to start slagging you off in the comments.
I know. I'm getting bombarded. He's so negative. He's so negative.
You know, the banners that they've got an always smiling faces. I think we need to have like a ginormous one under there, probably covering half of Dazzler's face. Just saying we're not serious. Please don't switch off.
No, please don't. Sorry. It was a joke, I swear to God. James Miller won't score past me, I hope. Touch wood.
Right. Well, I mean, this game has shown to be a bit of a spicy affair at times. And I think, Dasmo, it's time for you to tell us who's going to be the man in the middle for this. So, take it away.
Well, yeah, you're quite right to mention it's a spicy affair. And one of the key things I'm going to mention about the official when we're about to come into it now is last season's game. So the official for the game on Saturday will be the same official as we had for this fixture last season. It's Craig Pawson. Now, if you just cast your minds back to the game last season, Craig Pawson awarded us 3 penalties in that game. And the third one was the one that wasn't overturned and we scored. By a certain rat. He was already the referee. We have already seen him this season, by the way. He was the referee for the game that we drew 0-0 at Aston Villa on the opening day of the season. And in terms of how many games he's done overall, this is going to be his 5th game of the Premier League season. VAR for the game will be Paul Tierney. It's actually his 7th VAR appointment of the season. He's had no refereeing appointments, so I'm assuming he may be injured. But again, he's done a lot of VAR appointments this season, so we can probably class him as the most experienced VAR assistant this season. So we'll see how the game goes, and hopefully they would not have to go through the rigmarole of 2 non-penalties being awarded in our favour, and they'll just all be correct decisions, and we'll score them all.
So, speaking of penalties, I've got a quick question. If we get one, A, who's taking it? And B, which side has Voldemort hit top bins?
Hey, you're right. I'd have Big Nick on them. Like, that was... I have never, ever in my life seen a penalty struck the way he struck that one against Forest. And by Christ, that was some technique. And I think his right foot's still wrapping around his leg, to be honest, the way he struck it. But I tell you what, he puts it in the right bin, doesn't he? I'd say this time he'll probably go to the keeper's left, so top right for us.
See, it does make my arse twitch a bit though, how he takes penalties though. You know what I mean? Because I feel like that could have gone either way. That could have got skied or could have hit over the foot and have a Mitro situation. Remember Mitro had that play against Fulham, against us. He got disallowed. You know what I mean? Don't get us wrong. Love the penalty. Definitely goal of the month for me, 100%. However, I think Gordon's been really good in penalties. Ever since that Union game, he's been unbelievable for penalties.
Well, that's why I wanted to ask, because whilst Big V's pen was absolutely lush and deserves to be goal of the month and probably up there for goal of the season, despite it being a penalty, Gordon is obviously... Gordon did get the 2 in midweek against USG. And I'm probably overthinking this year, but the expectations are now so high, probably for Big V's penalty taking, that you don't want him to he gets to recreate it again, and probably just sky it into Rosette. But
we'll just have a repeat of last season, and we can win 3 penalties. Gordon can take 2, and Big V can have the last one after Gordon's goal.
There you go. Sorted.
Take a scorpion kick penalty. That'll be the next one from Big V. just a full scorpion kick.
Voldemort trick shots for pens. He'll probably score a header. He'll probably score a header through a pen somehow. Knowing him, he's scored enough.
Probably.
He'll crack it off the bar intentionally, and then he'll just nod it in.
He'll assist himself somehow. What a man! I love him so much. He's what a player. What a
class guy.
Is high. Well, before we get into who we think is going to score in this game, I just have to ask everyone, if you made it this far, thank you. Please subscribe if you haven't already, because we're doing these for every single game this season. And if you aren't already a member, it's only $2.99 a month, and you get early access to content. And we're doing extra content this season, including quizzes that we're doing ahead of the fixture for the next fixture. So, for example, this one coming up here is Brighton, so there'll be a quiz around everything Newcastle versus Brighton and so on. And you get access to the Telegram group, which is, like WhatsApp for like-minded Newcastle fans. Members are in there constantly talking about everything going on around Big V's penalty. It's only Big V's penalty. That's all it is. That's going to be the chat for the next 3 months until he scores another one through a scorpion kick. Right. Best part of the show, lads. Predictions.
Penalties.
Not penalties. I'm talking penalties. I want penalties too much. Predictions. Dean, you gave me a prediction before we started. Has our conversation changed your mind at all, or are you going to stick with what you told me before we went live?
Yeah, I think since I've been live, I've done about 20 predictions so far. But yes, I think I'm gonna stick with the one I've said to you before. I think we're going to get. I'm hoping and I'm praying for a 1-0 win for Newcastle United. That's just me being very positive, and I think it's going to be Jacob Ramsey to score as well if he plays. Nice. I think 1-0 Newcastle United.
Lush, take that. Dasmo.
Well, I know I said earlier I wouldn't take points at this point in the season, but it's a bogey team. It hovers over our heads. It's a little monkey that we can't get off our backs. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I'm going to say Welbeck to score for them because Dean's got that in my head now. And I reckon Big V's going to score for us.
Can he? You know what? I totally take your point about it being a bogey team, and I can't help but feel that, yeah, it's really difficult to get the idea of a draw out of my head with this. But I feel like, as I said at the start of the show, we're at a point where we need to really start getting more points on the board. So I'm going to remain positive, and I'm also going to go for a 1-0 win. But I'm going to go for a Malik Chow debut goal.
Nice.
Not only that, I've got a feeling that lad has got an absolute rocket in him. Fabian Schär with his
nice. Yeah, I'll take that.
So I'm gonna say he scores an absolute beautiful shot from outside the box.
89th minute, last 89th minute, Bosch top corner. I like the sounds of it.
I'm already going as far as saying our new centre back's going to score a rocket. I'm not going to go for any minutes, but if I actually tell you what, I'll say 67th minute.
Right, okay, right.
Happy days.
Right. Well, cheers, lads. Thank you very much for the predictions. For those of you watching, please get your predictions in the comments. We always like to read them and see your opinions. And thank you for watching as always. Dasmo, Dean, thank you for joining me, lads. I've been your host, Joe, and let's see how we get on down at the South Coast. Cheers.